right.
Yeah, when you are, buddy.
What is up, everybody? How's it going? My name's Cody, and this is my boy Hunter. How's it going, my dude?
Wonderful.
Yeah? Okay, Google, what's the weather?
Right now in Springfield, it's 46 and cloudy. Today, there will be showers with a forecasted high of 51 and a low of 37.
Sounds like a hard workout. Let's go.
Love the energy.
Okay, so we are going to talk about 75 Hard. This is that long form content that I promised you guys. So let's first get into it. Let's kind of just start by talking about just 75 Hard. What is it, right? So 75 Hard is a challenge that is designed to build mental fortitude, and it was designed by Andy Frisella himself. And it's got 5 simple things. So first and foremost, 75 days. You either win the day or you don't win the day. If you don't win the day, you start over on day 1. So you have to stack wins, right? You want to jump in or?
No, you're rolling, man.
I'm just gonna keep going.
Keep
All right.
going.
Yeah. So within the 75 Hard program, there are 5 things. First, you have to drink a gallon of water a day. Next, you have to read 10 pages of a book. You want that book to be nonfiction, so a business book, something about personal development, something like that that's going to help you grow, help you kind of think. After that, you take a progress photo so that you can kind of chronicleize your progress. And then you pick a diet and stick to it. That diet has to include no alcohol. And within that, it's pretty like open. It's not super prescriptive, but you do want to stick to that diet. And then you have 2 workouts. One of them has to be outdoors, and then one of them is optionally outdoors, right? I think you did a lot of outdoor workouts, but
a
lot of outdoors. Each of those has to be at least 45 minutes, and it doesn't matter rain, sleet, snow, or hurricane, right? Those have to be done. So, what did I miss? Is that it?
That covers the gambit for the basic training.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So 75 Hard is very much a like a proverbial boot camp, right? So after 75 Hard, there are 3 phases. Now each of the phases is only 30 days. So you do your first 75 Hard with 75 days. And then you can jump into phase 1, 30 days, and then all you're doing is adding 3 simple tasks, right? Simple. The first one being a cold shower, the second one being
5 minutes of a cold shower.
Thank you. 5 minutes of a cold shower. The second one being 10 minutes of active visualization, or like mental mind mapping, I guess, right?
Right. Basically, just visualizing where you see yourself.
Yeah.
Over the course of 10 years or 20 years or whatever your goal plan is, visualizing how you're going to get there, visualizing what you foresee yourself attaining, whether that be material goods or some sort of skill or anything like that. Then the other additional thing, you said the cold shower, you said the active visualization, right? So then the other thing, what was the third thing?
So you have 3 critical action items, and that's based around the power list, which is found in Andy's podcast, episode 107, I believe, of the MFCEO project. But basically, these are actionable power list items that you need to get done within a day. They are things that you check off your list to make you have a successful day. They might be things that you are looking to build a habit over. They might be things that like have to be done, but they're critical tasks. So it's not just like wake up and brush my teeth, done. It's like
unless you have a problem with brushing your teeth.
Right. And as soon as those action items become habitual, you want to move them off the list and add something new. So that's kind of the gist of that. So you have phase 1, after phase 1, you have a 30-day mandatory break between phase 1 and phase 2.
Could be longer, but it has to be a minimum of 30 days.
Yeah, absolutely. And then phase 2 is the exact same as phase 1. You've got the baseline of the 75 hard, those 5 items, plus the 3 from phase 1. And then after that, you've got phase 3. Now, there's a little bit of a nuance to phase 3 because you have to start it 30 days before your 1-year anniversary of doing 75 hard. So Hunter here, and this is kind of why we decided to circle back, be a little bit kind of looking back and reflecting on the year, but Hunter just finished his 75 hard program, the Live Hard program, and he got all the phases. So he has successfully done it, and I am just 2 days away from being done. Yeah, so that's why my gallon's with me, if you guys were wondering.
Because somebody decided that he didn't want to do it, and then he saw me doing it after a week, and he goes, you know what? I'm not gonna let you have all the glory. I'm jumping in.
Yeah, exactly. That's 100% right. So that kind of gets all the housework out.
Right.
And I will leave links in the bio if you guys are curious about this program to the 75 Hard website. It details out all of the specifics of it. I'll try to leave links to all the different podcast pieces. So if you guys are interested, feel free and scroll down into the bio and you can check that out. And if you have not yet, like this video, subscribe, follow along, figure out what I'm doing in my life, watch me have some fitness fun, get a little bit of inspiration, and have a little bit of fitness fun yourself, right?
There you go.
Hell yeah. So with all that being done, let's dive into it.
Okay.
75 hard. Let's talk about it. So I was kind of making notes, reflecting back on my 75 hard journey. At this point, it's been a while, so it took a little bit of thinking about kind of my overall experience. But I want to start with kind of the why, right? Anyone with a why has the power to overcome any how. Or there's a great quote about that I just completely butchered. So my why is, obviously you had started it, and being in the first form family, I had been in the sphere of knowing about it. I listened to Andy's podcast when it first came out, but man, I had a lot of excuses. I had every excuse in the book, and I feel like I was in a moment in my life that those excuses were pretty powerful, and they kind of let that override. But my day 1 started off because I woke up it was 6:45 in the morning, and I had slept through probably close to 8 to 10 alarms, right? And I just absolutely kind of despised myself. I really hated what I'd become, and I was outwardly projecting that I was this fitness guy, but I don't know that I truly was, and I kind of realized that I was a joke and a lie, and I got to work, right? So that was kind of day 1 for me. What about you? Can you reflect back to day 1?
Yeah, man, it's funny how many times throughout the whole process you get asked your why, and it was interesting because it did kind of seem like it shifted throughout. Like the why definitely changes with your mentality change.
Yes.
So at first it was a lot of I can remember walking up 3 flights of stairs and being winded. I can remember my high school days where as an athlete I could run for a couple miles and be completely fine, and flat out running, right?
Right.
Or I could sprint 100 yards no problem and still have stuff in the tank for to keep going. And recently, or at that point, it wasn't really that case. I had gained a lot of weight, hadn't really prioritized getting into the gym at the time. I didn't have time for it, but it really was just not a priority. poor habits eating, poor habits exercising, poor habits sleeping. When you combine all of those elements, you just get a very kind of depressed life in a lot of ways. Like, just didn't quite feel myself for a while, and that kind of became my why. Cody invited me to the Summer Smash with First Form. That was my first experience with the family, right? Which was wonderful. It was an amazing experience. You got around a lot of like-minded people, and then you hear all of these inspirational people talk at that particular event. One of which, being the Frisellas.
Yeah.
And so you hear them, ask, hey, is anybody doing 75 hard? Is anybody in it currently? And at that point, it was very
Right.
I had known about First Form through Cody, and so I definitely asked him some questions about it afterwards. At that time, there was a 5K on one of the days. We looked at each other and we go, we want to run a 5K at 6 in the morning. We want to get up at 6 in the morning and get to this 5K.
Right.
No, we did not. So we just hung out, had some fun. But then, life happens, and it was just a couple weeks later, I was like, you know what? I think that this is something I'm going to start. And so I wilded out the weekend before on a float trip, had some fun, and then got to work.
Right. And so what's neat about like your why when you first started is there was a lot of, and it kind of ties in, but there was a lot of like physical like appearance or like physical health things, and it's funny because like 75 Hard is not a fitness program, right?
Right.
It's probably the worst fitness program if we were to like chronicalize, like if your goal is to like be fit, but like because of just the sheer volume of doing 2 workouts a day for 75 days, like you get fit.
Right.
And I mean, you lost 1,000 pounds?
Pretty damn close.
That's kind of rude, sorry.
No, you're good. I lost 50 pounds.
50 pounds, yeah, you fucking killed it, right?
Yeah. 50 pounds through my 75 hard, took a week off, and then hit for phase 1. And through 75 hard and phase 1, lost 50 pounds.
Yeah.
And then I put on, I think, like 10 pounds now.
Yeah. And that's pretty common. I feel like people like fluctuate,
right?
Like once they finish 75 hard, just because like again the volume is just so crazy. Right. And
well, it also feels like there's been a good amount of muscle mass added.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree.
So it's kind of probably a combination.
Yeah. And so like what's cool is even though you started this off as like you had a very like fitness based mindset, like I feel like talking to you recently, your shift has been very much of like your why has changed, just like you were saying, so much to that like mental like fortitude. And I feel like
really it goes deeper than just mental fortitude. It's
right.
just success in all avenues is kind of where it comes to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you still have that physical element, you still have that challenge yourself physically and mentally, and you're growing in literally every aspect.
Yeah, and I think it's cool too because as we've been growing, like we're finding all these people who are like on the same journey, right? They're like cut from the same cloth, I think is the turn of phrase.
Yeah. And
it's really cool because you start to shift away from people who aren't aligned with that mission, but then also the people who are, like it's almost like a spotlight gets shown on them, like, hey man, over there those are your people, right? And I think that for me has been why I've leaned so heavy into First Form. It's like people ask, like, why First Form? And it's like, if you knew exactly where the people you needed to be around were at, would you not do everything you could to be around them? And I think it's cool because my goal was not super physical going into it. Like obviously I wanted the like physical aspects of it, but I think I was at a point of recognition that I just didn't like who I was, and I wanted to just completely change. And now, not only do I love me, not only that, but I feel like I've toed the line and I've become a completely different person, and I think that's really cool. I made note of a couple things that I feel like I've been able to see progress over the last year. First, my tolerance for excuses has pretty much just dried up.
Personal and otherwise.
Yes, 100%. The people around me, specifically, I hold a high expectation of, which sometimes gets me in trouble, But both my coworkers, my friends, my family, and the athletes that I coach, I feel like my expectation of them is so much higher because I may be on a different trajectory than them, but my expectation is that I know who they are and I know what they can achieve. So when I hold them to something, it's like you could do better, and so it's you have to check yourself because it's kind of callous, but it's very much like a higher standard.
Yeah.
I think some other things that I noted is my ability to say no. Just I feel like before, I was a pretty passive person, and I would do things that I didn't want to do, or I would I'd be out drinking and hitting the bars hard if I didn't feel like I wanted to party, and it was probably a really big lack of personal accountability, and then just personal respect or appreciation for who I was. And I found myself being able to someone would ask me to do something or invite me to do something, and I just, no, I don't want to, and I firmly stated, no, I don't want to, and I knew that was it because I I'd already rationalized with that.
Yeah, that is pretty spot on, or even, while you're going through, it does completely shift. There was, I was a part of a wedding throughout my phase one, and so I couldn't drink at the, whenever we went out to get suited up for tuxes. I couldn't drink whenever we were, when we had the bachelor party.
Right.
I couldn't, there was so many things where it's hey, even though I want to do this, even though those things all sound fun, those things all are good, there's something better that I'm going for.
Right.
There's something more that I'm trying to get out of life,
And I think that that plays into, you have goals in your life, everyone does.
Yeah.
And it's what short-term things are you willing to sacrifice for the long-term goals? And so they're all these I feel like they're lofty sayings, that you see on Instagram and motivational tiles, but truly, it comes down to where the rubber meets the road. It's those small things that you're seeing, it's man, all of my buddies are drinking and we're getting suited up, but how does this benefit me, or something like that. And I feel that's really cool that that was a challenge that you were able to encounter and overcome, because it was helping you reach that goal that you had set for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was more definitive and direct, because so many times you set a goal for 10 years from now. I want to make X amount of money, or I want to be in this type of a position, and you don't necessarily. There are a lot of really passive ways that those goals get challenged that you might not even really realize is a challenge to those, or you have two different choices, and maybe one will lead you closer to that, and the other one maybe it doesn't lead you closer. But when you start stacking those decisions, then you start kind of seeing that. So this was a really firm, easy one to to realize.
Right, because it's not the action in itself. It's not like, oh, if I had a couple, drinks with my buddies while I'm like suit shopping, that's gonna ruin my life. I'm never gonna be at my 10-year goal. Like that's too harsh of thinking. But in the same, like, it's those compounding, like opportunities that kind of like build on themselves. It's just like you can stack wins, like you can stack losses. Hey y'all, this is future Cody popping in just to let you guys know that Hunter and I got into the weeds. And because of that, I want to break this one up into a 3-part series. So go ahead and click forward, enjoy part 2 as well as part 3. But I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Like, subscribe, share this video, enjoy. Let me know in the comments, what did you enjoy? What did you glean? What do you think we missed? Thanks, I appreciate it. Stay tuned, part 2.